So everybody, it's Amon here. Welcome back to another one of Ranking YouTubers. Alright, know how it goes like always. Hope you guys' day is going good. In today's video, for YouTubers we're talking about HBTW, aka History Behind the Warrior, person who's making fighting game videos / history fighting game stuff. Now publishing much of the same matter for history about God of War, since now he's correlating to the God of War fan base and making different cases of content about that. He got me a lot into different cases of fighting game stuff. I'm gonna talk more about him obviously, but just reconnaissance for who he is. For y'all who don't know who he is. Next is Sneeko, the person that hangs out with Steezy Kane, the person making a bunch of other vlog questioning, cool type kind of advice videos in a form. Then next we have TFB, the Catholic Righteous Preachers, the pro-life group. And then KSI's little brother, the man working his way to try to best Alex Wasabi. That boy Deji, the man with a plan. I hope y'all will enjoy this video. Let's go and get into it.
Bitch, I'm coming in hot, hit one time, there's no fly, ain't gon' stop, I'm a dog, need a bone, she my top, she suck it up, she a dot, straight edge, what I bought, big dreams, what I got, she suck me on the spot, yeah, I'm pushing only penis, buzz in the face, I'm dipping the penis, she's taking the call, that's my thesis, pushing penis, as we do what I do, loud, so cool, all I do is speak.
Yosh, good mix, bro.
Yeah, I'm pushing on my
promotion.
She so freaky, make me needy. She dirty Diana, and she don't even wanna see. Don't wanna see me unless I'm on TV. And you know that it's not little, and I keep a pistol. All you know I do a lot, and you do a little. And we posted on the block, and we pushing pickles.
Obviously, like I said, starting with HBTW, aka History Behind Hawaii. Dude makes a bunch of different fighting game history things, which is what his name is, just Behind the Warrior. If you know History Behind the Horror is technically the same thing, but in this case, it's fighting game characters and not the malevolent creatures of the horror world. In this case, a lot of different cases of the history and lore that he talks about has inspired me. I talk about characters in my own right with who is this character, how powerful they are, and then at the same time give me a bigger place of the characters, lore, and story structure, and got me the more foundational lore and making my own different cases of storytelling. I feel like how the characters and what they resonate and how they do things are a cool, interesting piece. So that's why I kind of have the feel and likeness to them in a lot of cases. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I hope that when it comes down to the case for how the characters and etc. are like all around, that when he talks about them, they bring interest to me and all that. But again, obviously, he has more than something into content. Main different cases of fighting games that he's talked about involving lore has been with Mortal Kombat, his infamous one, Street Fighter, 2 Killing Stick, I'm pretty sure, a bunch of Tekken, Final Fight, other cases of small, different cases of fighting games, kinda here and there. But now, obviously, resurfacing with the God of War fan base is talking about the God of War lore and all that. So that's pretty cool, especially in the case for all different history that he talks about in their own different bending forms. He talks a lot in a lot of cases with the fodder cases of fighting versus what holds them to be this and this. He spreads his opinion about them, talks about them, theorizes, does a bunch of different cool stuff, and that's why I like him. I like a lot of different element of what makes up his content. I think it's very cool, creative, and inanimate and interesting, and I think a lot of stuff that he does is cool, which is why he inspires me to do the things that I want to do when it comes down to case for talking with history about the other characters and etc. and what makes them up as characters and etc. Pretty much it. And at the same time, like, nah, it's like fodder versus, I like they're bad, but obscure versus arcades of fighting games, they're not super popular in the range of Mortal Kombat, pretty much to me. He's a cool person, seems like. You'd be down to meet him, fuck with his stuff all around. That's pretty much it. Again, I don't have much to say about HBTW, almost at P, one of these cases time. Same thing when I'm mixing up TFP with TFB, and I hope I do not say it in this, but you guys understand why, because the lineup of how P and B is said, it's always kind of been similarly hard for me to say. Not actually saying the case of the letters, but at some different points of actually trying to say it at a different take and time for how I would go about saying it and stuff. And Raider on some bullshit. Nigga was literally about to go into another guard break line with another guard break at the same time. My nigga, I'm playing around. But on the road, because of how he did it, this nigga fainted, unblockable, and then pieced the grab just like that. But it's fine overall, though. Plus, it was a long time ago, it's not a big of a deal. But not to go ahead and recall to that focus, we're going to talk about the next YouTuber now. Sneeko, like I said before in the intro, is a friend of Steezy Kane. Not just known for that. A lot of his videos, like I said, are kind of like advice, doing different social experiments, asking questions, talking about some stuff, and doing some different more cooler things with that as being said. Because all around, his content is cool to me. Not the most adamant, but he's cool in his own right in the form for how he does things and makes things out with his content, poor stuff that goes hand in hand with that as well. And I like a lot of things that he does and why he does it, and how he does them at the same time as well. I think they're very cool. And I like the point of view that he comes with them all around. That's all I have to say about Sneeko. Like, there's not that much to say. Anybody who might get mad about how he talks about it or what he says, being sensitive, man, because I don't really see the big problem. Like, he doesn't have big controversy compounded with that. I just feel like if anybody puts that on him, it's a little bit of weird saying because he doesn't actually do nothing to renegade that case of hate. If you feel me, like, I don't really think that necessarily is needed. I have that much to say about it. Like, that goes to say, man, for a lot of YouTubers, but Sneeko doesn't have anything super gravitasly unique to me. But I like his shit and I fuck with him, and I hope the best for him in the bigger years. I don't think because he doesn't hold big interest to me that makes him bad or anything. It's that I don't really have much interest for what he does a lot of the time, because it's not my thing, but I like his personality. I think he's cool. I feel a lot of stuff that he said. How I found him was through, and also in case I didn't make it clear, how I found his Bound of War was obviously trying to get more into different particular games, war in Pacific for all. There was a case of the game that I tried to get on with lore at a different time, because originally I came to For Honor, it was obviously because they remember being a nerd of history and characters of history and stuff like that. It's by example, but in the case where again I came to his Behind the Warrior for of all in case of lore was for Mortal Kombat, and most of y'all know who I'm talking about, was BTW. Not the same case. Obviously I fuck with Street Fighter, Tekken, even I'm dog shit at it. Final Fight and RPlays and of different obscure cases of fighting games, Killer Instinct especially, and etc. That's the main game that plugged me into. But I also just like him as a fan of this different stuff. I like him in the foreign case of how he's like as a person, as a YouTuber, all that. And I like his place of flow and how he does things and all that. The same case of matter for place of Sneeko, because I came to with the fact of the video that he was talking about involving college lives and different things. I don't know the exact title, but I know that involved an adviceful case in matter for episode / video that really piqued me in case of interest on him because of how he represents himself and etc. I just like the feel that he brought himself. God, and I was clean by Rochi. But that's pretty much it involving Sneeko. Going on to the next YouTuber though. And when it comes on to these two other people I'm about to be talking about, there's a lot more to be said about them. Obviously, with the third YouTuber / YouTube group, TFB, some of y'all might know, some of you guys might not, unless you guys don't care about politics or stuff, which I don't. But at the same time, I do like to stay educated on things that hold a little bit of a principal point to my life or is intriguing. I always like to hear some other people's mindset and stuff. And at the same time, that was my own background, but like I was saying, the case of well, I wasn't from still because the point still stands. Like it formed for how they're like as people, as a YouTube group. The YouTube group in their videos is about their pro-life and religious takes on certain case of things that come into people's belief or doing with stuff. And every time I look at them, I don't see them just driving it by religion, even though obviously them being Catholic does hold up some of their points into play for why they do what they do, which I don't think is bad, but at the same time, I agree a lot of their points that revolt in case of science and some other different cases of religious points intrigue me because it's cool to understand people's different take on religion and stuff, because religion is something I feel like everybody has the free will, obviously, to speak about, but also nobody should feel out of place talking about it. It should be not controversial controversial to speak about religion, and anybody who says that is being dumb. It's a matter of belief that can be input to other people to show them different ideals, and I feel like that's cool. And I think overall the main place for why people think it's controversial is because people are not open-minded or ignorant and don't have an understanding in case about other people's mindsets and to do stuff as well. So I feel like overall, when you take that into constraint about why a person would believe that it's because it's a religious thing, would not understand other plus a point. Now at the same time, to go more deeply about this, because this is going to be a little bit controversial talk, not just the same about religion but politics as a playing whole, in case religion is a whole different supplement thing. And I understand there's drawbacks to make them controversial, but there's a lot of things that don't make sense to me for why it is controversial, you feel me? So when it comes down to the whole religious thing, I'm fine with it, like I said, but in some components, they don't really have a good placement point in say the matter for why they do it besides this case of religion. And different points, I'll be okay with that, but in this form, they don't actually have one that makes sense with that, and is literally just out of drive course for their own case of belief, which is not bad. But when that's the only thing you drive for, it's hard to even get into any common seminar for your argument, because you don't have a true argument. And let's say that it imposes to all matter, because again, if we're talking about what comes with the case of the religion of being Catholic / full Christians, obviously that's a belief, and you can take your belief in all cases of religion. Me personally, I have a big belief in God. I love God. I love Jesus more than a lot of things. But since I don't take everything that has been imposed into the Bible, imposed? Because you have implied, imposed. And that makes sense in that front. And it's kind of something a bit weird, because other cases, imposed. I don't know, it's kind of listening to a different form, kind of seems weird. But staying on topic, you have the form of what they believe being the just point for everything that they believe in, and that is fine, like I said before, and I don't want to say that without getting to the point and not to go on a tangent. Is just how they run into their factors for having this point of view. It is always being something drive by this and talking about this, the Bible with this. Not the type of people who have ballistic beliefs and preach that to everybody and have no formulation of truth and be out of pocket and just say the most dumb shit and appoint the religion onto everybody else is the main thing that comes into play of being objective problem with that as well. Because again, they're not like those people entirely, and I'm not saying they're trying to force their religion on anyone. It's just the point of their view, because in that case, other people, that's a problem. It's just the fact that they be excessive with it. The mainline problem I would have with that is the fact that, oh, you say this when you don't actually have a powerful case of proof that places that at all, and it's not true. EFB in this scenario was a person that would not have any qualm about reducing people's mindsets on case for Shinobi as a factor of being the baddest character in Overwatch. And he has a lot of drive with saying this because of the fact that he has the bias of being a Shinobi main. Or is it because he's Shinobi main with arguable place of bias does not turn away the factor that there is proof and great qualms to correlate with the fact that Shinobi and For Honor at one point, and maybe even now if you believe this, is still the worst character in the game. You can have that. That's by example. But actually TFP takes that and is not preaching that to that full extent. Some cases, that's when it's bad. I'll make examples. Let's talk about my personal belief with it. I'm going to fill you guys in on an idea of mine that I had. I was inspired a little bit by TFB and me getting more into this strain of politics and shit. The factor that I'm talking about in this case was the fact that I believe personally, and I will debate anyone on this, if you want this smoke, I'll give you the smoke, we can run it, that abortion is immoral to me. I have my own case of religious ideals with it, but it is not informed or poll all cases that come with why I believe abortion is wrong. I have straight facts of straight qualms, logic, and a bidding placement, and the fact that I think abortion is immoral and out of pocket and not needed, and that quote unquote my body my choice is a fucking cop out to kill innocent children. I get and understand why people do it, no matter case of a child was raped or whatever the case may be. But a child should not suffer for the sins of the father. And no matter the case, if it's a child and another child, the child should not kill one or the other. Two wrongs or two rights don't always make one definitely wrong or right at the same time. That's the most bungest case of a cop-out I've ever seen. It's bullshit. It makes no sense. It's dumb. It's irrational, and I feel like it's out of pocket to hold that in place of thinking when that's not actually the overall case for why someone should do that or would in this factor. Because overarchingly, it just seems dumb and nihilistic to even think like that in that form. Because you literally take that to everything, and that could be equated to a bunch of people. So just because it's my body means I'm allowed to kill someone that literally has done nothing and is growing. No matter if you can call it an embryo or a pure factor that it is growing, everyone arguably on this planet in some place is still growing. We're still growing to our peak. We're still growing to bigger age. We're still growing our minds. Just because they're growing their bodies does not mean they are not human. Okay, they're a clump of cells. We are bigger clump of cells. I don't understand the point. If anybody in the comments would be down to debate, if anybody just in general would love to explain this, explain their point, it's just weird. I am pro-life. I've never been a pro-abort or pro-choice, whatever the case you want to call it, and I do not believe in it. I feel very indifferent from the point of why someone would do this in different cases, depending on account of what they stand for, which is not proving me to being pro-abort. It don't really correlate no difference. But I'm saying that in the place of matter for this, I can understand it. Does not define it as true, especially in the comment of what it has in point to place you of doing it when it is not true at all in that factor. That's one of the things I agree with. They back up their own points of religion, but a lot of the time when it comes into their abortion talks, they very rightfully on some of the cases of what they talk about with it. And a lot of the time I agree with it very definitely. And even if you're not Catholic, you can see a lot of the portion of point that they had to be displayed in their arguments. Next thing I agree with, let's see a little bit of poke fact on the factor for why I don't agree with it, is the transgender thing. They back a little bit some of the cases of how religion binds this, but they bring it up with science and account for the fact that because you call yourself something does not make you something. So if I believe that I am a chimpanzee does not make me a chimpanzee. No. If you want to do that, sure, it does not make you that. You got niggas sometimes wanting to believe that they identify as a cat, this and this and this and this, in the most weirdest way. It does not make sense to me. I don't understand why. I'm glad to let people be what they want, but it's the most weirdest thing imaginable to me because you are legitly not that. It's not what I think of you, it's what you are inherently. And that goes in hand in case of abortion. Now, since I understand a person wants to be who they are in their body, be comfortable, and I'm not going to try to go and take that away from them. But overarchingly, it is very dumb to me still that someone would have that mindset when overarchingly it is a dumb mindset to have, in my opinion, especially in the format of you doing it for a sexual reason or just the pure fact that you want to be this. Most males that become females are just gay and assume that how they act and how they feel in the format of how they represent themselves, they're being females. You are a man with a penis. You not no female. I'm gonna be straight up about it. I don't give a damn what nobody says. Long Beach Griffey said it himself. You a guy. You not a fucking girl. You not. Don't call yourself not a man. Just stop. That don't make sense. I don't understand. I don't. And if you are a girl, you not a man either. I don't believe that. You have a vagina. Like, if y'all want to do that, fine. But if you ask me straight up, do I think you are a female? That's a fucking lie. Like, you can think a hoe is a hoe, but I'm sorry. If I'm trying to think, no. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. Not today. Not with me, sir. You are a guy. That's some foolish shit. I don't like taking up the bum. Hole's not a hole. In the words of the programmer, traps are not necessarily intended to gain until the point where you think it might possibly be a guy or a girl. But in the case of you actually being transgender and thinking that, no, you are a guy, you are not a female. I'm not trying to make a jab at this person, but there was a person at my school who was a guy, in their own case of words, but turned a female, when truly, that is a guy and that's not a female. They can live that life that they want, but if you would ask me, I do not think that is a female. I am not trying to attack transgender people. I'm just saying it straight up. I don't believe that. And you as a man, you biologically do not have a uterus. You don't got none of that shit. You don't go through periods. You don't go through none of that. That's not true. I do not believe that. And you can't just say that you are. Biological stuff is always going to disprove that by big mile place. You are not a female. And if you are a female trying to be a guy, you're not a guy. You're not. It's fine to be gay. It's perfectly fine to be gay.
I'm about to fucking break something.
I don't understand why that is the case.
I cannot literally do this.
It's fine to be gay on both sides. If you're a lesbian, gay, there's no difference, arguably. But if you want to impeach yourself as being that, fine. But if you ask somebody straight up and come in impactment with science, no, you're not that. There are two genders. I don't see how there's many sexes. I don't see where, in all accounts, a third sex has been biologically proven, or even scientifically proven, or biologically proven in this sense, psychologically proven in the case of the mind, or in place of just science and biological component. In any case for where it has arguably been proven, has only been in functionality of the fact that you believe it, and none actual place of any scientist saying that is the case at all. So I don't actually see where that is coming from in this sense. I would love to go and be proven wrong, but no one's proven me wrong. And even though I'm only in high school, I have a brain, I have good sense, and I know damn well that there's no proof that proves that there's a third sex or third gender in this sense. There's a bunch of different people talk about sex and gender in this case, and I don't understand it. I don't agree with it. I don't see the point. This is one of the only things I agree with TFB. The only thing I don't really agree with involving their case in point is the fact that just because God made you man and female means that in that case of your belief, yeah, that's true, but it's how they propagate it. It's not the saying of God made you man and female in this form. No, I'm not trying to take that away, even though, again, I do believe that with the case of what God in all span of form and matter for creation put you as, that's where you are. You can't just change your sex because you want to. That don't even make sense. Especially when your sex even quarrel count to being a fucking gender but being something else. You got people trying to identify as a table, a cat, a car, this and this and this, a fictional character. It does not make sense to me. Like, I feel like either they feel like how social media is imploded into their mind, they can validate that, which in that case they can't, because it means the free will. You can't tell them what they can and can't do. This just doesn't make sense to me. But how do you enforce that meaning, not like enforce as being mean or full on dictating the factor of what they mean, but how they accompany that factor and point is pretty much, oh, God made a man and female, so you have to go ahead and abide to the rule standpoint that God made you the way you are and that there is no change, including and counting to other stuff that doesn't have nothing to do with it. Because in that first point, it's not like I'm trying to say that's necessarily wrong. No, the point at hand is that when you say that and you equate that to bigger other things, there's arguable something change, but how you would enroll that is a little bit weird. Like, they equate that to a test grade that you did not put in the work and effort to be that, and this and this and this, when I feel like they're misunderstanding. So it's not that I disagree, it's I disagree with some of your stand writing points. I don't have to disagree with you entirely, but how you formulate your point about one thing I might disagree with. Like, for instance, I don't disagree with the fact that Kratos has immeasurable speed because of the fact that his scaling proves he does. The only thing I disagree with is in the cause and effect that impose him to have that speed, or what people talk about with it, with someone being beyond infinity having infinite capabilities to be able to get to that by the format of the writing. So more Kratos has plot relevance, plot armor to get to it by any single point, place, and matter for what he needs to have to get to it. And that can be equated to all things. That's just an example for why that's not the main counting case of likeness that I have, and why I don't think that is infinitely good in my opinion. But that's one of them. Overall, I agree with both. Third thing I don't agree with at all. I understand their point, but I feel like this is where you definitely can highball take this and dissert it entirely, because it does not make sense. The fact that they think by their own religion standards, nothing of science, there is nothing of science really proven with this argument of theirs, that obviously being gay is sinful, God's marriage, man and female, and that you doing this is not merely take on the format of what makes you a being of God, and the factor of this entire religion encompass of that as well. With that being said, the main thing that doesn't make sense to me with this is obviously the factor of the religion. Within the case for why they talk about it like this is obviously, like I just said, to reiterate, the religion and plane of the factor that the present era, the Bible, the fact that God, from all different accounts that I've seen in some different places, correct me if I'm wrong, did kill an entire city of homosexuals. But even with that being said, that's the Bible. I'm not trying to thrash on the Bible, as I do believe in some different accounting. But from what I've read of the different pieces and parts that I've read of the actual Bible itself, there's no big accounting that proves that God himself hates an entire plane of people just by sexuality alone, especially if God said they loves a bunch of different people and thinks that you're sinning because of the fact that you have the different binary place of sex than the case of other people. And I just think overall that's just not true, and that does not make sense to God in this sense from my accounting perception of who he is as a being. And I feel like him ridding an entire place of people because they are gay is very dumb to me. Now, do I believe God's perception of things, or am I calling? No, because I'm a mortal. I'm a person who does not understand being that possibility. I don't know if God exists. I do take into accounting that possibly God does not exist. I don't know if he does exist. I don't know anything about him from a higher plane. I only see him through the case of writing that has been depicted by man, because by all calling case same matter for perception, all of religions, going off from Christianity to Buddhism, have been man-made or exaggerated in counting to different people. And this even goes into ancient cases religions from all accounts. So from what we know, none of that shit holds arguable factor. I'm not trying to disrespect them and discount all place of being with the religion. But if you're trying to make an actual argumentative debate about somebody in their case of sexuality from a biological and some standpoint, you cannot bring the Bible into all of it unless you're backing it up with actual science. Because if my religion and plays me to think, oh, and then for example, in the factor case for why you would think something in a different disarray in comparison to somebody else's religion, oh, from my same matter for ideals, I believe killing is bad because you hold no right in appeasing wrath on their being in that format. But I can bring from just plain logic and according to demonstration to say the matter for why doing that shit is completely bad, and not workaround mixture. God damn, them combinations with it at the same time makes that bad entirely just because of the pure fact that you're doing something out of pocket, unneeded, immoral, and most importantly, very irrational in accounting that you do something out of your own volition of need to kill something that is not needed to do at all, and you doing that is demonic in habit. I don't need to bring my personal case of ideas. I can just bring a logic for how us as a society impales with murder, because murder is not right. It doesn't matter, no matter accounting arguably, murder is not right. But I can also bring out to my own virtue and wrenching case for why I believe that killing in Pacific and some of their accounting place same matter for killing is bad. And I have my own ideals and picture with that. I'm not going to go off too tangent because I don't hold a point. But my point all around, I'm going to drink some water. is that you taking this to this extreme doesn't make sense, because you could equate that with everything, and some of their equations are dumb to me, because they're equations of, oh, because they're gay, they don't hold the same sentiment as what other cases of marriage and this is. But y'all don't hold the eyes to say that, and y'all hating on people because of their sexuality in a way. Not full on discrimination hate, but it's more implying that because they're gay, it's a sinful spite on them. And so with that being said, that disserts all place of them as people when it comes to account for what they stand for and who they are and stuff. So with that being said, that takes away all counting your credit, because they're literally discounting them over their sexuality. There's a bunch of different people on this planet, billions of them, with different beliefs and different ideals and different form of calling. It's because you guys as a group, because it's a group that goes all around America, these young different boys talking about the common of their calling and belief of the Catholic religion and etc., does not imply that because these people are gay makes them bad and that fortune. And I feel like taking that to the highest extreme is very dumb and is straight up discriminatory against gay people because of your religion. Your religion does not dysphoria any case of people's mindsets and being. You can have that belief, but it is not pointed as being true, especially there's multiple different things that counts that, especially when being homosexual, anything has been found of a species. Now at the same time, species of animals, not the same thing for humans. You don't have to get your ideals from animals, but don't point just because humans have this thing makes them out of place for the same thing. Being gay does not make you a pedophile, and some what they say. You're saying that lust against the flesh, this isn't cannibalism. I really do not get it. And every time they explain it, it's the same back point, and it's not actually precisely a point. And I feel like a lot of that takes away a lot of credit case for how they can make a profound point, because there is no derivation of a point. It's a lousy talk about the factor that, oh, if you were gay, you define sinful by having the same place and order comparison to being a pedophile, saying, oh, if they're happy, then it doesn't matter. You equate out other things, but they're literally not harming nobody. I'm not gay personally myself, but I don't believe, oh, if you are a guy and you like the same sex, that makes you bad. I don't believe that if you are a girl and you like a girl, that makes you bad. It's just a different form of likeness and sexuality. That does not define you as bad. It does not correlate you to be bad. But it's literally fucking illegal in countries by their ideals, and just the pure fact that you're a grown person and you should not be resonating with a child that can be easily turned because their minds are not fully fucking developed. Their body is not either. And you're a fucking 35-year-old fucking nigga liking kids. You're EDP 445's fucking spirit animal. That's bad. That does not correlate to the same accounting point in the place for you being a girl and you like another girl just because of the format of your sexuality. This is not the same case as a girl talking blasphemy when you are literally a fucking dyke and you are a girl trying to be a man. That's not the same place ascension. And again, your EDP 445's sea animal. Wait, hold on. That kind of sounds a little bit weird. I've been talking a lot, haven't been able to record my breath for a second, even though I've been on cool point within the other place of what I've been trying to say. It's just that you guys got me. I'm saying that your EDP 405's speed animal, so you're over here taking something that is not even actually a thing when it comes down to case, arguably, for how people are like, especially since the Bible has been written multiple different times. It is man-made. It's not even counting in place of actual provenness to be this and this and this, arguably in some accounting. So with that being said, you saying that this forms all points because it's not actually that in a lot of forms, because you can equate it as that does not make it true. And so with that being said, it is very nihilistic and dumb point to me, and not actually in equation to actual science, like how they might bring up different points. I know in this society, some people with a lot of ramifications of how people feel about things, your point of religion can be taken in a big shameful way, and people who actually come out and attack TFB and do all this different type of shit should not do that, because it should not be a crime to have freedom of speech and talk about your view in the world of God. But y'all points are very bad because of how y'all take it. And like I said, I think it's very nationalistic to go ahead and say that and not actually think about the cases and be considerable and mainly ignorant on the factor that comes into place with that. Because again, if you want to have your belief with the Bible, that's fine. But the Bible has been rewritten multiple different times by all correlation counting proof. It is man-made and not actually informative within the case of truth and impactment of people's actual reigning form of thoughts. And saying that literally decorrelates all placement points that you have. And it's not part of national law. What's the point of national law in this form? National law for Bible and what they press as national law does not correlate to everybody on the planet. And it's because what God may believe does not imperil what people do on the planet. Me personally, some of God's ideals and virtues I would like to see to because of God's representation. But just because God thinks this does not impeach or imperil what people do as society. That's the thing I don't understand with this. Because it's easy, arguably, to take what people think and preach it in a different stand form because obviously somebody above thinks it. But you take that to everything, that literally is the most small fragment of truth in the factor that just because God thinks something does not mean he wants to overrule the world with that same case of thinking. Because God doesn't want them to sin an obvious implication of being sinful or in a point of being diabolic, and whatever the case may possibly be. But just because someone else thinks something does not impeach that. And if God hates this up so much, like he did in the case of homosexuals, why does God not do this and do that? Obviously, I'm not trying to slanderize God. I'm not trying to question him, but these are points be taken into place. So saying that is dumb to me. And all the other points is not true because they desert something, they percept something only with religion, hold no point, and they have bias. Oh, if they're gay and a person is not gay, they'll have a better relationship, better time in schools, all this. You equate that to everything. That's like saying in the past, oh, if you white, you ain't gonna be black. And black, they were niggas, they were fucking slaves, they're black, they're darker shade, so they hold no quarrel and comment of being. And most importantly, at a time they thought black people, because they were in their own kind of words, deserting them in their rights and downgrading them. Oh, look at these black monkey Negroes. They look like Reese's cups. Get them out of here. If you white, you have a better standpoint in life. You won't have to use colored only bathrooms. You can take any seat you want. You can eat anywhere you want. You have all the factual cases of rights. But now if you black, you gotta be outside. You gotta go to this place. You can't drink. You can't sleep. You can't shit nowhere else like other people. And I know that's not in a full racism, but you can literally call that in the same corporation of discrimination to black people, to obviously gay people. Obviously, homophobia, when it comes down to the case of males and females, is not in the same plane as racism, because racism is way more ridiculous than homophobia. We all know this. I'm just saying the way you can depict that is insane counting to black people. I'm not saying the word Karen is in the same fragment format of black people and racism coming into play with them. I'm just saying, honestly, doing that is an considerable counting place of being the same exact thing because of how you depict that and what makes that what that is at the same time. That's just overarchingly dumb, bad, and there's no real running case of point saying that. And I think overall is just functionally fucking retarded. That was a lot to say. That's my entire tangent for why I don't agree with them. Overall, I'm asking some of the case of what they stand for. They seem like, even with a flimsy point in a lot of case of reasons and being Catholics that hold a lot of bias to their religion, they seem like cool people. I don't want to attack on them. I just think they're overarchingly wrong. And I know I'm not super into much in case of politics and points, but I want to go and talk about this from the place of my opinion. Let me go drink some water. We don't get that in my throat. Pause. Stop it right there. I just want to go and talk about it because a lot of them stuff I want to get off my chest. And again, you could equate the same pace and point to EDP 405 spirit animals and troglodyte degenerates. But in the case for why I'm talking about with the case of gay people and trying not to case discrimination, And obviously, again, like I said, I'm not super much in the place of politics. But I just want to run my point because that comes into play with them. Excuse me, there's some noodles. That's just weird to think about in all equation placement to the point of other people. So that's why I want to go and get that out there. That's it for TFB. It's time to go and move on to the final YouTuber. Last YouTuber is Deji, little brother KSI. They pushing his boxing workout things. Last chance, his redemption. He already trying to run up in a redemption fight against somebody else, but now his redemption fight is against Alex and showing that he got what it takes against the UK versus USA boxers. Who are the better YouTube boxers up in this mug? If we actually talking the question, who are better boxers now modernly, UK or US, you can have your opinion with that. We're talking overarchingly, I'll take US because a lot of profound legends come from the US, and at the same time, US in a lot of arguable punching ways, literally and figuratively, pushed a new stride for boxing, reinvented the entire norm of boxing from general coordination of things and all that, and made different legendary spikes and stuff. So I felt like overall, in counting the case for how they drove in the punch, figuratively and pun intended with that, obviously, they pushed a bigger high than them, because UK got some sluggers, outboxes, and some great pinnacle fighters. Even though I don't watch UK boxing, I might need to go and refresh my history, so it doesn't matter how many pounders that got over there in the UK, but not all of them literally in the matter for a fight are figuratively in the coming punchline, pack the bruise like US in their own right, pun intended again. Like, I'm just saying, even more pun intended, because I got Balrog on my screen boxing Laura over here, even though she's zap crunching my nigga Balrog getting thrashed. Goddamn, Balrog, you gotta go in and get some heavy blows off him, man. You might pack a little bit more of a punch, but still, overarchingly, that's why I feel like UK and US is going to be interesting from a YouTube standpoint. YouTube boxers for US, in case of UK boxers overpair out from all cunning placement for what they've shown. But US has Logan Paul, but that's just like from what has been low blaze showing. If we're talking over intricately, I would say US ups one place to how the fact that Jake Paul is actually a great A pushing boxer. But if we count in place for other people who will go out their way to go and fight Jake Paul, I feel like they would put him down easily, generally. So if you put that in the case, that's how they're better. If we're talking low mid, UK and US has an even sprite, but overarchingly, if we put in the counting the factors of the fact that UK has a better overreaching case of fighting cases, I would say that US is not in the same plex as them overall, and that's why UK wins generally all time over, because they don't have that same drawback as in the case as US when it comes on the case of their boxers, but the top boxers overpair. But enough of that conversation. I wish Deji the best, because his first fight with Jake Paul, he basted him pretty goodly. He was gassed and he didn't fucking take it seriously, so he got smacked, and Jake Paul won over points, and he bested Deji in the said matter. Jake Paul barely beat him. He was getting bruised, he was getting bonk slapped by Deji. Deji was fucking him up in that fuck. But at the same time, in the case for the match, that fuckery right there was only on account for Deji, because Deji did not train super. If he trained super, you possibly want to knock Jake Paul out. Jake Paul was pretty much crying of blood. He was getting blood swacked right there, bro. He was not ready for it. Deji was getting him in the form of his movement. He was getting him with the slugs. He was getting him with the corner stop. He was not letting him push at all. There's nothing this man Deji could have done better in the case of the fight, but just be more practitioner and more trainful within the case for how he did it. And Jake Paul was going to get ragdolled either way. He couldn't even put that much up in the case of man for a fight. But nah, Deji just blew his load and he got wrecked there in that case. Then his second fight, nigga literally trained in McDonald's, did not do nothing. KSI roasted him enough. If you want to know more of my opinion on that, just go watch KSI's video on Deji. It says enough. It blows more miles. Point being said, Deji, train harder, be more built, look better. You don't even have to look better. It's not bad to be husky. Look at Tyson Fury. Look at that mountain of a man. And he could bone crush a nigga. Being fat or just having big pelt weight is not bad. That increases power, that increases durability, endurance, and your own factor. But do not desert the factor that you need to be in even correlation of shape. Do not put yourself astride because of the fact that you got the husky built strength. It's called work ethic. It's called point of fighting. It's called being proficient. It's called pushing. That is not what you did. Gedgy, what you did number 4 was fucking take a knee. You put black people 100 years back with that shit, bro. Don't ever do that shit again. I'm sorry, Deji. Like, I fuck with your content a little bit. You're not the most inanimate, but I fuck with your stuff. I don't think you just KSI's little brother. You want to stay out of his shadow? Make something happen. Push. Prove niggas wrong. Make it work. Do something. Don't let motherfuckers disperse you. Because he's just been talking at that time and not actually walking the walk. Now, he's walking the walk and he's talking the talk, but staying solemn with running it and pushing and doing his thing. And his coaches, how he sees things, sees him trying to make some point of effort instead of matter for what he's doing, and he's making it happen, and he's not just giving up. And he's preaching, he's pushing to make something count with this. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, that's the right thing to do when it comes down to his work ethic and his low point of pushing as a star and pushing to work out, to pushing to box. You know what I'm saying? So overarchingly, if he's going to make the best paved way, he has to make it count for himself and not download it and make the best out of it in the counts of him being a fighter to push and never give up. That's the problem with Vinny Hack. And Vinny wanted it more to you. Well, that kind of sounded weird. Hold on. I've been talking so fast, and my brain cells have not been counting everything. Like, I'm not being dumb. It's just in the case for how I said it, I feel like. Because Vinny, when fighting you, wanted it more to you than what you were more to do to him in this sense. Because it goes hand in hand. Because what I'm trying to say entirely is that Deji, it was a redemption fight. He was going to come in. He thought he could just impress him with his power. He thought you could intimidate him. But nah. He intimidated you more because he actually was built. You lost to an anime character. Nigga came in with the Naruto soundtrack and the words of KSI. I think it was the final episode. Like, I'm not trying to be mean to him because Vinny is a cool dude. He had good sportsmanship, but he bombed you. You got rocked. There's nothing you could do. He wanted more to you. He got more to you. And he wanted more in that fight. He literally said he was doing it for the money, but if an outsider looked at it and didn't get the fucking full load back up, niggas would think you, Deji, did it for the money, because you didn't do shit. Like, come on, man. It don't make no sense. Not punching the hit lord, that shit bullshit. Anyway, the case for how you did it was just terrible. Now I believe in you, because you put in effort. I'm a fan of you, so I believe in you, Deji. Makes it happen. Overall, he's cool. Case for other stuff involving his character, he was very childish in comparison to KSI. Some of them backlash, popping things that came in the bracket of some stuff happened online. The fact that KSI and Deji had this brotherly beef on YouTube for a good minute is so childish. Y'all brothers, don't ever do that shit again. That goes for anybody. It's the fact that niggas have so much beef on YouTube, at least as family members, that it gets to that peak point. Is just out of pocket. I'm glad that they're cool and they're brothers, their family, so that should never happen. But I don't like how the fact that they're brothers and they're beefing over dumb shit. Like, they beefed at first because of a girl. The fact that KSI didn't say something about somebody else's song. Like, it was his friend's song, and this nigga Deji got super mad about it. It's fully explained in KSI's video ending it all to make a big point about the place for how he was like in the entire moment. But the thing that doesn't make sense to me is the pure fact that someone like that in this scenario would take it to that big extreme, and it just wouldn't wear him. This video is getting long enough, so I'm not even gonna waste time with it. I'm just saying it's just very dumb and childish to think like that, and that's the main thing that kind of lost all correlation counting of respect to me with Deji at that point. I still respect him for the count of what he wants to push and strive to do, but that kind of displaced a little bit of counting point of respect for how ridiculously dumb he paved himself as in that scenario. It was not needed, and it made no sense to me why that even came to fruition. That doesn't make sense at all to me. That's very dumb. But overall, Deji has grown. He's grown more mature. Like his content, like I said, not the most dynamic his content, but I like a lot of important things that he does when it comes down to his overarching thing. I hope you guys have enjoyed this entire video, a long ass video, one of my longest, getting into 50 minutes. Jesus. There's gonna be a lot more I have to say about people, so I'll see what I have to say involving in the case of these videos. I love y'all. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out, man. Love y'all.